I'm just driving and thinking about how to position Knovigator and what it is and how to communicate and message about it, because I'm building this tool and I often struggle with kind of explaining to people exactly what it does and why it's valuable. And I end up kind of alternating between different stories about it because it can do so many things. But I think one of the main things that it can do, and this is the Chrome extension piece of the application, is it can act as a search diary. And a search diary is essentially a your diary of the searches you've done and the answers that you've found. One way that I came upon this is I follow someone named Visicon on Twitter, and he was writing about the importance of writing and how everyone is kind of already doing. Everyone already writes in their regular life. People say that they don't write, but he mentioned that actually every time you type into a search query, into a search box, you type a query into a search box, you are actually writing. That's an act of writing. And that I realized that that's kind of what I was doing. I was essentially recording the writing that I was already doing. I was recording my search queries, and then I was recording the answers I found. Then I was keeping a diary of kind of the lessons that I was learning. And I think that's a good way of thinking about it, because it really is kind of the lowest barrier to entry writing that you do every day, hundreds of times a week. We write into the search box. We write queries into the search box, and then we find some answers. We maybe even have some thoughts about those answers, and we never record those. And so Navigator gives you this ability to keep a diary of the most important lessons that you're learning through the searching you're already doing. You're already doing half the work, and Navigator just offers you the opportunity to, with a few clicks, save that work for future use, and save it as a building block for a piece of writing that you're working on, or for a presentation that you're going to do, or just for your own self-improvement or interest. So I like this concept of a search diary. I think that's a good way of thinking about what Navigator is. And another thing that I started thinking about as I'm thinking about the search diary concept is one reason that I've kind of been searching for a way to talk about what Navigator is, because I really don't like talking about it as a bookmarking tool. And that's really kind of the thing that people are most familiar with, that Navigator overlaps with, is bookmarking. You're essentially saving web pages that you're visiting. But I think the whole idea of a bookmarking tool, it comes from, bookmarking a page in a book. And I think that that's really outdated and doesn't really work very well with the internet, especially with the act of searching and finding an answer. Because whenever you bookmark something, you're only saving a place on a web page somewhere, but you're missing a critical piece of context, which is why you got there, how you got there. And that's what the search query gives you. It gives you the context. It gives you, what is the reason I was reading this piece of text? How did I find it? What was I looking for? That's a huge piece of the puzzle when you're saving a piece of content. And to be able to use it later and to be able to understand why you found it useful, the search query is actually an extremely important piece of information that no other bookmarking tool really lets you save. And Navigator just gives it to you automatically and makes it that much easier to organize things, because you're already categorizing things when you type a search query. That's already a bunch of the work done. You don't have to tag, you don't have to come up with a new category for something. The search query already gives you that piece of information. And so with Navigator just being able to Navigator just being able to save that for you very easily, it's a pretty powerful mechanic. So I think that's a good approach of looking at it as a search diary. It's a diary of your searches and the most important lessons that you've come across. So, and you can record them to share with your friends, with your coworkers, with your family. Yeah, I think I'm gonna explore that a little bit more.